And your riches can be channeled in a couple of directions. At the place where your resources outweigh your need, you're rich. And listen to me, rich can take place anywhere in any society on planet Earth. Now, in Uganda, I just read a story about a woman the other day in Uganda who got a loan from a Christian business company that gave her $171 so she could get a faster sewing machine. And now instead of being able to make 1 or 2 outfits a day to sell in the market, she was able to make 10. And then she was able to hire other people to start sewing for her. Then she was able to give them jobs, and they were able to now take 20, 30, 40 outfits to market, and then they had so much extra money that they started noticing that there was a transportation issue in the village, so they first started buying bikes, then they started buying motorcycles, and started charging people to go back and forth, and then instead of having one goat for milk for the family, they had like 3. Somebody said, well, you don't need that. I tell you what, if I told you, hey, I'm going to make you rich, I'm giving you 2 goats, a bike, and a motorcycle, you would say, you've got to be kidding me. But you know what? In that her resources exceeded her need in that village, she's rich. She's rich. Now, abundance lets me be rich. It lets me be rich towards myself, towards others, or towards the kingdom. In other words, when I have extra, I get to move my extra in one of 3 ways. Now, I believe it is the will of God for you to be able to take your extra. I believe it is the will of God for the Christian to all 3. Well, I don't believe we should use it towards ourselves. Then we have to change the Bible. Psalm 37:4, delight yourself in the Lord and He'll give you the desires of your heart. Why would He give you extra if it was all supposed to go to somewhere else? He said, look, I gave you extra. Be self-rich. Be others rich, and be rich towards my kingdom. In other words, take your extra and channel it in these 3 ways. Listen, it is possible to do all 3. It is possible to only do 1 or to do 2, but it is not possible to do none of them. Your extra will go somewhere. Amen. You can't say, well, I'm not going to do anything with it. I'm just going to put it in savings. Well, that's self-rich. I'm just going to give it to my grandchildren. That's others rich. I'm giving it all to charity. That's kingdom rich. Once you have extra, it goes, I'm just going to bury it in the backyard. Self-rich. I'm going to give back to my employer. Others rich. I'm just going to leave it for somebody to find. Others rich. I'm going to throw it out the window. Homeless rich. But once you have extra in your hand, now comes responsibility, and the call of God is, I am calling you. I got no problem with you being self-rich. Just don't be self-rich at the cost of others rich or kingdom rich. And contrary to what religion will tell you, don't get into this, well, I just do it all for the kingdom. God says, I didn't wire you that way. I gave you desire, then gave you the ability to have your desire, and I didn't give you to call you to be just a people pleaser, to always be given to somebody else. You worked hard. It's right that the ox be able to eat some of its own corn. I mean, this is the process. Anytime you have extra, you say, I've got to figure out where it's supposed to go. So if you end up at the end of every month with $500, somebody say, oh, my Lord, I'm rich. I mean, can't you see Daffy Duck? I'm rich, I'm rich, I'm rich. I mean, I'm rich. And somebody say, what should we do? What should we do is the Bible says we better disperse this out. Now, if you've ended up shortage, you don't get to the end of the month and say, who do we want to bless? Kids, what would you like? Mom, what do you need? Pastor, what can we do? But if you're in a place of extra and the Haiti offering comes up and you say, hey, I got extra, we'd be rich towards the kingdom. You're out at dinner, you see a mom out there, she's at, buffet or whatever after church Sunday, and she's trying to pay, and you see her, she's telling how much it is, and this and that, well, how much for the children? And the little girl says, Mommy, I want Sprite, I want Sprite. No, baby, that's $1.20. We're gonna drink water today. And you're behind them in line. You say, wait, ma'am, I got this. What are you doing? I got extra. And God's commanded me to be others rich. But I tell you what, most of the world,